Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple player props I like on Prizepicks for the Week 4 Monday Night Football game between the Seahawks and the Giants. I got two props, guys, that I've circled for this game that I do like, so as always, we're going to talk through these two plays. We're going to share why I like them. Before we do get started, though, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below. I always do appreciate the likes. Hit that subscribe button if you guys have not yet, and if you guys are new to the channel, and if you're new to Prizepicks, if you have never signed up for Prizepicks before, you can actually sign up for Prizepicks and use my promo code NOAH. If you do look at the bottom of the screen when you sign up for Prizepicks, with my promo code, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. So be sure to check them out, sign up, use that code, and get your deposit bonus. So that way, whatever you deposit, whether it be $25, $50, $100, Prizepicks will basically double whatever you put in up to $100. So definitely make sure to use that code when you do sign up. Also, do want to give a quick shout out to Sleeper because we are partnered up with Sleeper, guys. And if you're not signed up for Sleeper, we also have a promo with Sleeper where if you sign up and use promo code NOAH over there, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100 as well. So you deposit $25, $50, $100, they will double your first deposit, give you an additional whatever you put in to play with. And Sleeper, it is a little bit different than Prizepicks and some of these other pick'em sites. On Sleeper, it is a dynamic payout system. So what that means is basically whether you take the over or the under on a certain prop, the payout will change based on whatever side is favored to hit. If the over has a higher chance of hitting, so you'll get a lesser payout for that. But if the under, on the other hand, the under might have a low chance of hitting, but they might entice you with a really high payout for taking the under. So that does allow Sleeper to offer a lot of different props. Like you can bet touchdown props for a lot of players, players that Prizepicks doesn't offer, and you can get some high payouts for those touchdown props. On Sleeper, you can win up to 100x your money. So if you're one of those people that really likes to chase those high payouts, you definitely should check out Sleeper. And again, if you're not on Sleeper yet, use that promo code NOAH when you sign up and get your first deposit matched up to $100. But yeah, guys, let's talk through this Prizepicks game, or Prizepicks slate, I should say. Talk about this game and the two props I'm liking. I will say that at the time I'm making this video on Sunday night, we're still waiting on fantasy scores to be added. We only have the defenses up right now. We don't have any of the offensive players. And fantasy score is a category that I do like to look at. So I'll have to take a look at those once they get posted. I'm guessing they'll get posted like on Monday. If I do find any more plays that I like for this game, I will share those over on Patreon. I do always give out additional Prizepicks plays. I give out some sleeper entries over on Patreon. You guys can check that out, linked down below in the description if you are interested. But right now, at the time I'm making this video, I found two plays I did like for this game, and we're going to start off in the receiving yards category. We're going to take a look at Darren Waller, 48.5 receiving yards, and this is an over that I like. So more than 48.5 receiving yards for Darren Waller. It's going to be our first play, and let's talk about why I like this play. Now, if you look at Darren Waller's game log so far this season, it doesn't look great. Their Week 1 game against Dallas, he only had 36 receiving yards. Did have a good game against Arizona in Week 2, 76 receiving yards. And then last week against San Fran, he did struggle, only had 20 receiving yards. But there's a lot to talk about here with Darren Waller. So first off, the two games this season where Darren Waller did not go over his receiving yard prop, not only were they very tough matchups against very good defenses, Dallas and San Fran, those were also blowouts. Those were games where the Giants didn't have any chance of winning. The game against Dallas, I'm pretty sure Darren Waller didn't even play in the fourth quarter because they lost by 40 points. And then their last game against San Fran, they lost by 18 points. I think the starters might have gotten pulled early in that game as well. Honestly, I can't remember. But that was a game where, I don't think the Giants were able to get anything going on the offensive end, if I remember correctly. So really, the Giants have only played one good game this season, and it was against Arizona. That was a comeback win for them. And we did see Darren Waller get 8 targets in that game, 6 catches for 76 yards. But even last week, he didn't have the greatest stat line, but he still saw 7 targets last week. He got 5 targets in their Week 1 game against Dallas. The volume has still been there for Darren Waller, and he should be one of the top targets for Daniel Jones in this passing game. This Giants pass-catching core, it's not great. I mean, they don't have a lot of good receivers. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Paris Campbell, they might have one of the worst receiver cores in the NFL, if not the worst. So Darren Waller should be a target monster in this offense. He should be the top target for Daniel Jones on a weekly basis. And without Saquon Barkley, there's a good chance that we'll see the Giants lean on Daniel Jones' arm even more here. I think this is a spot where we could see Daniel Jones throw the ball 30, 35 times. I think last week he did throw the ball a good amount. Like last week he threw the ball 32 times. The week 2 game against Arizona, he threw the ball 37 times. If we're going to get 30, 35 pass attempts from Daniel Jones, there's a pretty good chance we're going to see like at least 7, 8 targets for Darren Waller. And Darren Waller, let's not forget, he is still one of the better receiving tight ends in the league. And he really, he hasn't had a good matchup yet besides the game against Arizona. Now, the Arizona game was a good matchup, and he did do really well. But the Cowboys, that's one of the toughest spots. The Cowboys are a great defense. The Cowboys were also playing at home in that game. And then San Fran, one of the best defenses, one of the toughest matchups for tight ends as well. This is a spot where Darren Waller should be able to have some success. This is a matchup I think he can succeed in against the Seahawks. The Seahawks this season, in terms of receiving yards allowed to the tight end position, they have given up the 7th most receiving yards to tight ends this season. So I think this is a good spot for Darren Waller. If you look at what tight ends have done this season against Seattle, in week 1, Tyler Higbee, he had 3 catches for 49 yards against the Seahawks. In week 2, Sam Laporta had 5 catches for 63 yards. And then last week against Carolina, the Carolina tight ends didn't really do much, but Carolina's, they don't really involve their tight ends to begin with. But Sam Laporta and Tyler Higbee both had pretty good games against this, at least in terms of receiving yards. Both guys had over 40 or 48 receiving yards against this Seahawks defense. And I think we're going to see, over 48.5 receiving yards for Darren Waller here. The volume should be there. I think it sets up as a pretty good matchup, pretty good game script. This game does have a pretty high total as well. Expect to be a kind of a higher scoring game. So give me more than 48.5 receiving yards for Darren Waller here is our first play for today. And do want to mention that right now, if you look on DK Sportsbook, at the time I'm recording this video, Darren Waller is pretty heavily favored, minus 140 to go over 48.5 receiving yards. So odds are also heavily favoring the over here as well, which is always a plus. Now, the other play I like we're going to take a look at is going to be rush attempts. And we're going to look at Kenneth Walker's rush attempts prop of 14.5. This is another over that I like, so more than 14.5 rush attempts for Kenneth Walker. Now, you look through the first 3 games this season, Kenneth Walker has gone over this line in 2 out of their 3 games. Last week against Carolina, he saw 18 rush attempts. In their week 2 game against Detroit, 17 rush attempts. And now week 1 against the Rams, he only had 12 rush attempts. But if you look at that game against the Rams, and if you look at the game script, that was a game where the Seahawks were playing from behind. They lost that game 13-30. They were playing from behind, for a large majority of that game. But the week 2 game against Detroit, they won by 6, and then last week against Carolina, they won by 10. Typically in games that are competitive, or even if the Seahawks have a slight lead, you're going to see a good amount of opportunity on the ground for Kenneth Walker. Now, the snaps for Kenneth Walker have not been like super, super high. If you take a look at his snap count so far this season, in week 1, he played 63% of the snaps. In week 2, he played 61% of the snaps. And then last week, he did play only 51% of the snaps. So he's not playing like, 80, 90% of the snaps. But when he is on the field, he's getting carries. And that's what we really care about. He's been getting opportunity even though his snaps have not been like super, super high. Even though last week he only played 38 snaps, he still got 21 touches. So when he's on the field, they are involving him a good amount. And this is a pretty good matchup against the Giants. This is a Giants defense that you can run on. So far this season, if you look at the Giants in terms of like rush attempts allowed to running backs, they are allowing the 3rd most rush attempts to running backs. They're allowing the 5th most rushing yards. Teams have been running on the Giants all season. And if you take a look at this season so far, in week 1 against Dallas, Tony Pollard got 14 carries for 70 yards. Rico Dowdle had 6 carries for 24 yards. Deuce Vaughn had 6 carries for 8 yards. And then week 2 against Arizona, James Conner, he got 23 carries for 106 yards against the Seahawks, or against this Giants defense. And then last week against San Francisco, Christian McCaffrey, 18 carries for 85 yards against the Giants. Eli Mitchell, 11 carries for 42 yards. Teams are running all over this Giants defense, and this is a Seahawks team that will run the ball, especially when they are playing with the lead. Kenneth Walker over this line in 2 out of 3 games. The one game he didn't go over this season was a game where the Seahawks were playing from way behind. Don't expect that to be the case here. If anything, this is a game where I think the Seahawks probably will be playing with the lead. They are slight favorites in this game. So more than 14.5 rush attempts for Kenneth Walker is the other play I do like for this game. And I do want to mention as well, if you look at DK Sportsbook right now, you look at the odds for this play, go to the rush attempts category. Kenneth Walker is minus 130, favoring the over on 14.5 rush attempts for this play. So both these props are favoring the over on DK Sportsbook. We love to see that. And these are 2 plays I do like for this Monday Night Football game, guys. So this is what I'm going to be rolling with. It's kind of like an early 2-pick entry for this game. Again, guys, if I find any more plays I like for this one, I'll share those over on Patreon. We'll have to see what other props get added to the board on Monday. I'll definitely be keeping an eye on the fantasy score category to see what fantasy score props we get added, because right now they only have the defenses up. They don't have any skill players. They should add those sometime on Monday. I'll take a look at those, see if I find anything, and if I do, again, I'll share that on Patreon. Linked down below in the description. You can check that out if you are interested. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching the video, supporting the content, supporting the channel. Make sure you guys hit that like button down below if you do enjoy these Prizepicks videos. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you're new to Prizepicks, if you haven't signed up for Prizepicks yet, get signed up. Use that promo code NOAH when you sign up, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code. But good luck on this Monday night game, guys. Hopefully we can all win some money tonight. Appreciate you guys watching as always. Best of luck if you're going to be tailing me with these two plays. And let's try and cash out, make some money for tonight. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.